Hello. Happy Sunday. Mother's Day to those who celebrate it today. Across the pond, it's actually not Mother's Day, so. Otherwise, I just want to, we're going to make it another bat today. But before I do that, I thought I'd show you something that I found in moving some things around. This is the very first hand spun I ever made. And then I kneaded it into a swatch because that's like all I had. Okay. Because I did it on a spindle. So here it is. Nice and big and chunky. And you can actually tell I plied it with itself. So here's sort of the other end there. And there's my little knot at the beginning. This is actually, so there's like a little like border around it. A little bit of rib, and then we've got the knitting, and then we got, of course, got the purl side. Someone told me I should probably put it like in a shadow box. But right now it's just like in a little plastic baggie. This was spun from fiber waste that came from Brown Sheep Company, the one in Nebraska. Okay. And Three Oaks Knits, which used to be our local yarn shop until Megan closed it and then moved away. Unfortunately, she has passed away I think it was in the last year. But she used to get sort of real cheap, the sort of, I said they're essentially mill ends, I guess. And I bought, it was like super cheap. And I didn't have a lot of money. And so I bought some of it, and a lot of it was sort of black. There was some browns, little bits of white in it. There was some that was also sort of like a caramel color as well. And so that's what I first learned to spin on. So this was with my spindle, my very first spindle that I got at Shepherd's Market when it was in the Amana colonies, back when the mill was still the mill. So we'll put that away. And then we'll get you set up for today. Okay. So I posted a picture earlier today of Malta, which I made sometime this last week. And the plan was to make, I had a 6-ounce braid. The plan was to make about 3 bats with it. And so I made one, and then discovered and I made tags for all 3, that I actually didn't have. I could make 2 additional ones into the one I had already made, but they would end up being a little smaller and so forth. But I took the one I made to my guild yesterday because we had our May guild meeting. It's our last sort of officially scheduled meeting until September, though we have a potluck. I think we decided it's going to be in June this month or this year. And we had normally, because we have our competition where I won my prize for my leftovers for the yarn I spun. Mainly because I didn't have a lot of competition. I snuck it in I was late, and so I snuck it in at the last minute, and there was one other person in that category. So it wasn't like this amazing landslide. But normally we don't do show and tell, because like kind of your show and tell things end up in the competition. But people had stuff they were working on anyway, so I brought things. And I'd grabbed a couple bats. And so Malta came with me to the guild yesterday, and it got passed around and admired, and then somebody bought it. And then Jill, who back when I played that first bat game for how many bats I was going to take with me to Threads and Fiber Festival back, for November of 2022. I'm a little tired today. She won. She got exactly 58, and I had 58 bats and so forth. But she couldn't decide what she wanted because she's actually not a spinner. She's not yet really a felter. But she has a little business. Shout out to her. It's Eclectic Ideas. She makes jewelry. Those sort of dishcloths with the crocheted tops that you can hang off your oven handle. She makes those types of things. She does crochet. She does kumihimo and things like that. But she wants to learn to like felt beads that she can use in her jewelry, but she couldn't make a decision about what she wanted for a bat. Okay. And so as this one got passed around yesterday, she came up to me afterwards and said, so do you have any more of that fiber? And I said, yes, I do. I took 2 more bats planned. And she's like, so that's what I want. Okay. So Jill has finally decided 6 months after the fact, what she would like for her bat. So we're going to make her bat today. So Jill, if you're watching, I tagged her. I don't know if she's watching or not. I don't see her little emoji up there. So I'm going to move you to get you set up. It has been overcast and rainy here today. In fact, I got up nice and early and I thought, oh, I'll be productive. And then after breakfast, I proceeded to take a nap on the sofa. So that's kind of how my day's going. Okay, so there's Sebastian. I'm not going to clean him because the last thing I made was Malta, so anything that's on him would stay on him. So, and could someone leave a comment? Because I'm not seeing any comments yet. It has the comments will appear here, but I don't see anything yet. Or press a little emoji button or something so I can get a reaction, so I can see if that's sort of working. Hello, Mary. I do recognize your image. Okay, so Malta is a base of BFL silk in these lovely. Okay, yes, I can see you. Hello, Mary. She's you to me to you. So it's BFL silk, bamboo in what I call sort of the IKEA colors. So the bright yellow and not quite IKEA blue, but it's getting closer. Okay. And then a little bit of this Firestar from Faith Hope Love Studios. She calls them Mermaid's Tales. But hello, Beverly, and hello. I'm never quite sure from Georgia. So Knox, I can never tell if that's like if that's your name or if it's like several people using the same account. But Knox as well. Okay. So we're gonna make that, and then I have a little more here that I think because I don't quite have the balance I need, I'll use this in a different kind of bat, or I'll make Malta 2 or something like that with some other fun colors in it. Okay, so let's get this sort of set up. But I have been productive otherwise today. The nap was Sunday. The nap was appreciated, and Heloise actually, it's been rather warm here, like in the 80s. And I refuse to turn the air conditioning on. I have the ceiling fans going on, but I only have one sort of window door that opens, but I don't tend to open it because spiders. Okay. Lots of spiders. They sort of took over my balcony last year, and they've already started again this year. But yesterday when I got home and it was so hot, and I'm like, I don't want to turn on the air conditioning. There was a breeze outside, but of course it's bright and sunny, so everything is getting hot from that skylight that's up there. And I was like, okay, let's see if we can catch some breeze if we bravely open up the balcony door, and I've got the screen that, you push up and it's the storm window, and you pull down, it's the screen. And so I managed to move things around enough that I could open up the door. Doors take up a lot of room when they open. And remember, I live in 600 square feet. And there's a loom over there. So I had to move the loom, and I had to move the space heater, and all of that. And so that actually cooled things off a bit. And now today it's like 60 degrees and so forth. So this is some of the bamboo, nice and shiny. I'm sure it's like Ashland Bay or something like that. But I got it from Courtney isn't that great? Just that nice yellow on there. So let's see what the blue looks like next to it. So it's cooler today. And so it was cool enough that Heloise is willing to cuddle a bit with me. When it's warm, she doesn't want to do it. In fact, she'll hide underneath the chaise lounge because it's cool and shady and sort of all of that. Hello. Oh, that is your name. Okay, thank you. because I know we've got someone who's like a Sue and Steve that sometimes watches, and I'm pretty sure it's two people. And I know some people who do it, particularly people who are teachers, they do it because the students are less likely to try and follow them if they're like, oh, it's not actually just my teacher, or it might not be my teacher because it's not exactly the same name or whatever. Okay, so just a little bit of the Firestar there. But other things I did today is, well, one is I checked my bank account, so I was able to see that my booth fee for the Midwest Weavers Conference was cashed, which to me says we have accepted you. So I can now plan. I usually stay with a friend when I go to Des Moines, so I have to contact her and find out. Make sure. I might exchange some cat sitting. They have a number of cats. And so I did that. I put in my application for the June WAFA show, which is, June's a short month, and it's pretty early. It's like whatever that weekend is. It's like the 23rd, 24th, that type of whole thing. And that is the last WAFA show until September. There will be a teacher fair in August. But we decided in WAFA that there is so much going on for people in the summer. People have vacations, and there's so many other festivals. And in the past, obviously in 2020 we did summer shows. But there's just, people are busy doing other things, and they're spending their discretionary income doing vacation or buying, stuff for kids to go back to school. And so we just decided that we would wait until September, let people sort of build up the anticipation to shop WAFA again. So June will be the last one until September. But at the end of August, there will be another teachers' fair. I'm not sure how many days it's going to be yet. I think they're waiting to judge interest and so forth. Okay. Keep pulling this in. Sometimes these commercials, roving, they're so thick you got to just divide them down the middle. So I got in my June application because today's the last day to apply. So if any of you are thinking of applying to do WAFA in June, this is your reminder to do your application today, okay? Because it closes tomorrow. Other things I've done today, let's see. Did some dishes, did a little bit of cleaning. Usually Sunday's my cleaning, change all of Heloise's bowls out, clean up the litter box a little bit. It's not quite yet time to change the litter, but doing a little wiping down of it, change her water bowls. It's the day I also use vinegar usually it's to clean my electric kettle, but my electric kettle sprung a leak, which is not good when it's electric. And so I've been using a saucepan. So today was, because I have very hard water here. So today was the let's use some vinegar to clean all the caulk off. So I did that. I went through. I'm anticipating before the end of the month being able to do another order from Dharma, and so I've been sort of curating my cart, because I sort of fill up the cart and then go back and sort of say, okay, do I really need this now? You know, we're coming into summer. How many long sleeve things do I really want to get right now? Because if the next couple shows go well, I can do an additional order. And so I might not be wanting to get really long sleeve things quite yet. Focus on sort of the summer dresses and so forth. Though I may call tomorrow the Heloise tunics. They're currently on sale. Really nice price. But every time I try and put one in my cart, it says 0. So obviously I think they're sold out. I noticed a number of gauze items were on sale, and I don't know if this is we're clearing inventory so we can order more, or if it's these are no longer being made. I'm really hoping it's not that, because people love the Heloise tunic, those giant pockets. So, yes, yeah, that's the other thing. Yeah, so use up your materials. I mean, and there are some people who like won't knit with wool in the summer, right? Because it's too hot. Okay, so that. Let's ignore this. Just make cool beads with sort of streaks of the bamboo in there, particularly if you can trap it with a little bit of wool over the top. Or so you were thinking also maybe some pendants. Yeah, so I've been going through, like, for example, the half moon. Obviously, if Heloise tunics become available, I will order more of those, even though they're longer sleeve. But the half moon jackets, those long dusters that I absolutely love, yeah, I might hold off on those, and get them later. What else have I done today? Oh, I started spinning. So I finished that Cafe au lait merino, and now there's some companion merino that was a dark brown, so that I got from Jubilee Farms when I was at what was it called? Western Illinois Fiberfest, the one at Macomb that I really liked. And they're going to do another one. They're going to do one in beginning of November. And so I haven't paid anything, but I've let the organizer know that I'd like to do it. It's that first weekend. So Beverly, just so you know, it's that first weekend in November. Yellow, yes. So I'm looking forward to that. What else? I know I did something else today. Oh, I know it was. I continue to think about my booth layout and booth setup. I've been looking at pictures from people at Shepherd's Harvest, which is going on this weekend up in Minnesota, which I really wanted to participate in, but the applications opened I think it was September, back when I was still paying for all those repairs to Esmeralda, and so I wasn't able to apply. So I really want to be able to go next year. But I've been looking at people's photos from that. The New Hampshire Sheep and Wool is going on this weekend. And so, like, Kayla from Four Hearts Farm, mainly fiber, is there. So I've been looking at people's booth setups to get a sense of, what I want to do. Though, of course, most of the people I'm looking at have double booths, which I can't have yet until I get a bigger vehicle. Esmeralda, usually, I think it depends on what I'm packing, but usually I can I have gotten a double booth, but it's not a packed double booth. And in many cases, I don't have enough inventory. This is getting pretty good. I think this is all that's left, so let's just see if we can get the rest of it on. Isn't it kind of fun? Yeah, the different colors. So, thinking about if I have let me put it this way. When I go to Fiber U in July, I have a booth and a half. And that is actually like ideal for me. Because it lets me have the yarn, hand spun, it lets me have the bats, but also lets me have the clothes plus the changing room. Okay? Because the changing room in a single booth, it's a little tight because it's 4x4 and I'm sort of working on layouts. Hoosier Hills is going to be, which is, coming up in 3 weeks or something like that, is going to be interesting. That'll be the first run of the new booth or the new changing room. I still need to find a place. I don't think so. The hallway often downstairs that you often sort of see me set stuff up and try things out in. I think it's just under 4 feet across, so I can't set the tent up there to practice it. And to make sure that nothing's broken. So I have to figure out where I'm gonna set it up to test it. But figuring out sort of a layout that lets me have that 4x4. At least it's stable. It's very upright. None of this curved sides that take weird footprints. So I think my booth is going to be a little cramped at Hoosier Hills, but it certainly will not be an issue at Fiber U because I'll have the booth and a half, and not an issue at Midwest Weavers because it's at Franklin Junior High, which I've done before, and I always just send people to the bathroom because it's not that far. It's a pretty small site. It's Des Moines. And so I'm going to try and get this darker piece of green off here. So yeah, we'll see how it goes with Hoosier Hills. But one of the things I would like to eventually do is, because I've got, those big tables. I got the big black table that's 6 feet by 30 inches. 30 inches takes up a big footprint. And particularly if I've also got that 4x4 foot tent. And so what I am looking into, and I sent an a message earlier, because I know a vendor who has what I'm interested in. I don't want grid wall, okay? Because I would drop it, break my foot. I'd drop it on my foot, and I'd break my foot. And grid wall is heavy and sort of cumbersome. What I would like to do is get this, I think it's aluminum. Sandy of Cozy Colorworks has it. It's a company, I think it's in Pennsylvania, called, it's like Graphic Design Systems or something like that. You never really know what it is. Okay. Sorry. It's time for you to start guessing how much this weighs. Okay. Anyways, so I know she has it, and it's created for artists, for art shows and so forth. But Sandy uses it to hang her yarn, and she drives a small vehicle like I do. And though I think she has a roof rack, probably filled with yarn. But what's great about this system, because I'm never, I will say it now. We'll see what happens. But I am never gonna have a trailer. Okay, those. I don't know if some of you have seen. When you go to a festival, you have these people that they essentially have these racks with wheels, and they just sort of wheel them out of their trailers and unzip the protective coat around it, and they're all set up. Okay? I'm always impressed by that. But I'm one person driving a trailer, not really my thing. I mean, I did have a CDL earlier in my life, but still, something with like that I have to worry about, like a hitch and everything. That just sounds like a disaster. But if I get a bigger vehicle, but even now, these aluminum walls, okay, are 6 feet tall, but they break in half. So you have them; they're in 3 foot tall sections. So you can use them on top of a table, but you can also just break them down for storage and getting them in your small vehicle like mine. So that I'm sort of really hoping for. Okay, more guesses. See what else you can guess for weight. So I sent a message off to Sandy earlier today because she's had them for a little while, and so I wanted to get her feedback on what sizes does she have. I'm sure she does double booths, but what sizes does she have? What widths, because they come in a variety of widths. Because I needed it to be flexible, because not every show I do has a 10 by 10 space. Okay. There's a few that do 12 by 12. There's a couple of littler shows where it's 8 by 8. Okay. But it also needs to be flexible in the sense of some shows I may have the changing booth that I have to work around. So I'd probably have one wall come around the back and then come over here along the side of the changing booth over here. And then this side wouldn't have any walls because that's going to be where the clothes are. I'd probably keep the rows on garment racks. Or the clothes on garment racks. Okay, so look how fluffy that is. Look at that. Okay. Stuff over here. So I'm going to go fluff off camera, but I'll keep talking. I need some sizes that give me flexibility for different configurations. And it's this nice sort of silver background. I could hang the hand spun. And I've actually been looking, and I can, use a few things like that mint green shelf that I got a couple months ago. That will be, here we go. Okay. That I can put small things that you can't really hang on. Like some of the jewelry. But just sort of a couple small little sort of tables up against that wall periodically, I think would look nice. Okay, tear that out. And here we go, drum roll, last chance to guess. What are people guessing? Okay, we have someone who looks like, if I'm reading that right, someone who might be really close. Okay. It is 2.53. Write that down real quick. Which is really close to what the last one was. The last one was 2.57. Yeah, so Beverly May. I have to scroll back to see who else. Yeah, well, it's already called Malta. Okay, because I've already made one of these. So let's see. Beverly, is there anyone else who got lower? Numbers are jumping around again on me, so I can't tell. So I will look afterwards to see if anyone else has. I mean, Fairy Lights would be nice if it didn't already have a name, but it's Malta. When in doubt, and I can't think of a name, I think of a place name. So, and I was just trying to think, where would those colors work for? I'm like, I wouldn't use this for Seattle. Seattle just doesn't look like this. Okay. So that is Malta for today. This is going to be going out to Jill in Waterloo, who won the bat game way back last year, but only yesterday told me what she wanted. So this is her custom bat, because she said she wanted one just like the one I brought to the guild meeting. So that's sort of what I've been up to, giving you sort of all that update. And my app didn't crash. We're very happy. My storage got really kind of full with little video clips of things, and I took a lot of photos yesterday because we had that competition, so I had to take photos of all the winners and their certificates. We're also we're starting a dye garden at our guild. Very rudimentary. We got some marigolds, some flax, and some woad planted. Plus, we did a few little plantings where we're going to start a compost pile. But yeah, so we're sort of working on things with our guild, and I'm kind of excited because I'm stepping down as sales and events coordinator. So because our sales tend to be during high festival seasons, and I'm like, we have to find a time when I'm not committed and so forth. So yeah, so I wish you all a pleasant Sunday for those celebrating Mother's Day. Have a lovely, lovely day. Otherwise, just have a lovely Sunday. Okay. Or if you're watching this later, have a great day, whatever day you happen to be watching this. So we'll do this again next week. And also, I have to create some events. So my WAFA sale is on the Saturday of the last weekend of the month, full weekend, and I just don't remember the time. The event will be up later today. It's actually my 3rd anniversary. My very first WAFA sale was in May of 2020. It was done at my sister's dining room table because I was out east for my father's funeral. As I just posted the other day, the anniversary of his passing. And so I was back out east, and that's the joy of doing an online show. You can do it from wherever you are. So I had put everything I was making in a suitcase, and I took it to my sister's, because I was like, I need the money. I'm not going to miss this sale. So, it was great fun that first time. I didn't know what I was doing. It was so much fun. And I still remember a few people who watched it that first time. So it was great. So yes, that's my theme for this month, but I may do something a little with the derby idea with hats. I haven't decided yet. We'll see what happens. But I have been doing some dyeing. I did some dyeing yesterday afternoon. I'm not going to get down there today, but I'll be down tomorrow to do all my rinsing, and I'll probably start another batch of things. I got a new color pomegranate. I'm hoping it's a darker red, but from what I saw when I dyed yesterday, it may be another bright red. I got a lot of bright reds. The reds, that's the thing about the Procyon dyes. They're very cheerful. Okay. And so I may have to do some more mixing or something to get it a little darker. So, yes, have a great, great rest of your day, and I will see you all around on Facebook.